Welcome to a deep dive where we peel back the layers of source material, articles, research, even personal notes, just to find those truly insightful nuggets. Our mission today is exploring this fascinating collection of sources that, well, at first glance, they seem to pull in totally different directions. It gives a really captivating look at the world's contradictions.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've shared some incredibly diverse material, and what really grabbed my attention right off the bat is how one of the main sources actually describes itself.
Oh, indeed. Yes. We're looking at a radio program here that openly calls itself a comedy show.
Right.
And it says, nothing inspirational, deep, or motivating. Just goofiness, fellowship, and fun.
Just fun.
Just fun. But as we'll see pretty quickly, the very next breath, it dives into some profoundly serious, thought-provoking discussions. Current events, societal issues, you name it.
Yeah.
So that tension right there between the stated purpose and the actual content, that's kind of a perfect entry point for our deep dive into contradictions.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's unpack this paradox. We'll kind of journey from some poignant social commentary to the complexities of political maneuvers. Then we'll pivot to some really personal shifts and even touch on a few, well, truly absurd pop culture moments.
Right. A real mix.
The goal is to help you extract the so what from all this, to understand not just what these sources are saying, but maybe why it matters for navigating our complex world. So this source, it calls itself pure goofiness and fun, right?
Right. That's the label.
But what really stood out in the material was, like, immediately after saying that, they start discussing the song Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People.
Yeah, that is a striking observation because the song, it's got this catchy, almost, danceable melody.
Totally.
But it's starkly juxtaposed with its incredibly dark subject matter. The chilling perspective of a school shooter.
Chilling is the right word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the hosts in the source, they describe this as an awfully tragic irony. And, well, it's hard to disagree with that assessment.
No, you really can't. And they explicitly talk about this feeling of numbness, a profound feeling, and deep discouragement about how often school shootings happen. The material highlights this perceived disconnect in society, pointing out how people seem, and this is a quote, literally more upset about Cracker Barrel and a made-up thing there, or a logo change, than they are about, quote, saving the lives of our kids.
That's quite a comparison.
It is. It makes you really ponder, what does this stark contrast reveal about our collective priorities?
Yeah.
Or maybe just our emotional bandwidth in this world where we're constantly bombarded.
That is such a critical question. When we think about the broader implications, it really suggests a profound societal desensitization. The source implies that phrases like thoughts and prayers have maybe become this hollow substitute for meaningful action.
Yeah, it comes through strongly.
And it notes the tragic irony that the victims themselves, well, they were praying as it happened. So this initial contradiction where these sort of superficial concerns seem to overshadow grave human suffering, it sets a really powerful stage for the other contradictions we're going to encounter.
Yeah.
It forces you to ask, where do we draw the line between, say, coping mechanisms and just accepting tragedy?
That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
And from grappling with that social numbness, the sources, they pivot pretty sharply, don't they?
They do, right into the political landscape.
Yeah, detailing what's described in the material as fundamental unfairness. We see examples of, well, not just systemic manipulation, but also this startling lack of concern for principles many might think are, sacred.
Yeah, and a compelling aspect here is how easily the rules of the game, so to speak, can be bent or even outright broken. The source highlights congressional redistricting in Missouri, and the governor, Mike Coe, as the material calls him, is portrayed as acting purely to gain, quote, one more seat for a political figure. And what's really jarring, according to the source, is that this is happening not after a census.
Which is the normal time, right?
Exactly. That's the traditional trigger for these kinds of changes.
The analogy they used in the source, it's so striking, it really drives the point home. Imagine the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
After winning 2 Super Bowls, deciding mid-game, oh, hey, we're going to get 12 points now when we score a touchdown.
Right. Just changing the rules on the fly.
Exactly. Changing the rules in the middle of the contest. It's not just about winning, it's about the basic idea of a fair game. Which the source suggests is just, gone out the window, and seemingly without much public outcry, which is another point they make.
And this is where the source expresses this palpable frustration. It says people don't seem to care about that at all.
Yeah.
It challenges you, the listener, directly. It asks, if you aren't troubled by them fundamentally changing the rules, then there's something wrong with you.
Strong words.
Very strong words. And the material then connects this to broader issues, suggesting that if someone prioritizes, say, lower prices over fundamental fairness or over addressing racism, then that makes them, quote, a bad person.
Wow.
Yeah. And, our role here is just to impartially convey these viewpoints as they're presented in the source material.
Absolutely. We're reporting what the source says, letting you consider their perspective.
Precisely.
And this leads straight into a direct critique of a former president's actions. The source frames it with heavy irony under the banner, promises made, promises kept.
Right. And the material doesn't just list actions, it seems to paint a picture of a consistent strategy.
How so?
Well, what we see here is a pattern that seems to go beyond individual policies. It suggests a systematic approach. The source details what it calls the worst things that Trump has done since taking office.
Okay.
And several points really illuminate this broader theme of, let's say, institutional erosion and centralizing power. For instance, the material mentions mass firings of inspectors general and oversight of any type.
Right, the IGs.
Exactly. And the source presents this not just as personnel changes, but as a strategic move to dismantle independent checks and balances. Basically, removing crucial watchdogs designed for accountability.
Okay, I see the pattern you mean. And this extends to federal agencies, too, according to the source. It describes deploying federal forces, like the National Guard, to cities, but not for their typical duties, but to, quote, pick up trash and garden.
Strange tasks.
Yeah, and maybe even more controversially, the material points out these forces were cycled out at 28 days. Why? To prevent them getting higher pay after 30 days.
Oh.
So it's not just unusual tasks. The source implies this is a tactical use of resources, maybe to exert control or leverage, while also undercutting their pay. It speaks to a very specific kind of manipulation outlined in the source.
Exactly. And placing this in a wider context, the source also critiques the impact on healthcare and the national debt. It references the One Big Beautiful Bill, which strips millions of healthcare and food aid, offering limited rural hospital funding.
And increased the deficit up to $3.4 trillion. So these aren't just presented as budget figures. They're framed as consequences of policies that the source argues had deeply damaging effects on social safety nets and fiscal responsibility.
And the discussion then touches on the former president's stance on flag burning.
Right.
Despite Supreme Court rulings protecting it as free speech, the source highlights his repeated calls for consequences. It frames this as a distraction from other, more substantive actions.
A diversion tactic, basically.
That's how the source presents it. And the material even includes this provocative idea for civil disobedience, burning a Confederate flag and a Trump flag, but not the American flag, as a form of protest.
Interesting.
Which suggests, within the source at least, a desire to reclaim the narrative of patriotism and protest from what it perceives as misdirection.
And what's truly illuminating here, I think, is how the source ties these actions together. It also details how the CDC was, quote, hamstrung in their duties with funding cut, unable to make announcements without Trump's approval.
Right, I remember reading that part.
Yeah, leading to the ousting of a director, major resignations, and apparently a 75% reduction in food safety monitoring.
75%. Wow.
Yeah. So the source argues this isn't just about controlling information, it's part of a strategic pattern, systematically dismantling independent oversight and expertise. It reveals, according to the material, a deliberate playbook to centralize power and suppress any dissenting narrative, no matter the implications for public health or democratic norms.
And then, just for a moment, that the source describes as revealing sheer pettiness. There's the revocation of Secret Service detail for former Vice President Kamala Harris. This was 9 months into a year-long extension given by the current president.
Okay.
It's portrayed in the material as a petty and dumb act, intentionally putting her safety at risk, revealing a mean and vindictive approach that the source states quite plainly is on brand. This detail, while it might seem small compared to the other things, it underscores the personal, maybe even vengeful undercurrents that the source suggests run through some political actions.
Yeah, that personal dimension adds another layer.
It's easy to get kind of lost in the scale of those political issues, isn't it?
For sure.
But our sources also bring us right back to the intensely personal, showing that the drive to challenge a broken system, or maybe just improve your own life, often plays out in surprisingly human, sometimes even humorous everyday ways.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And here's where the material takes a really fascinating turn with one of the personal stories from the hosts themselves.
Right. A deeply compelling aspect of the material deals with personal well-being and the courage it takes to actually prioritize it.
Uh-huh.
One of the individuals in the source, Boogie, announced he quit his job after 32 years at the same firm.
32 years, that's a long time.
A very long time. And he vividly describes the workplace culture as, quote, toxic as hell. A crazy project was involved, and he cites middle management as a key factor in his decision to leave.
He just reached a point, it sounds like, where he felt he couldn't take it anymore. And the decision brought this huge sense of relief. It even led to him physically looking lighter, and his blood pressure improved.
Amazing.
Yeah. Despite not having a new job lined up, he says he's happy because it was his decision. And apparently, he's now considered a legend around here for leaving on his own terms.
Huh. Good for him.
It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About prioritizing health and conscience over a long-held career, even one spanning 3 decades. It's a personal contradiction, in a way.
Yeah.
That's security versus peace of mind.
Absolutely. And when we think about the broader implications, this kind of bold decision, while it must have been scary,
Oh, for sure.
it can be profoundly transformative. It definitely parallels the earlier discussions we had about difficult choices and challenging a broken system, but this is on a deeply personal, really relatable level.
Yeah.
It highlights individual agency, in the face of stifling circumstances. It offers a powerful counter-narrative to maybe feelings of helplessness that can come from those larger systemic issues.
That's a great connection. And then, amidst all this intensity, the sources also give us moments of just pure levity and incredibly relatable annoyances.
Like what?
Well, we hear about a washing machine breaking down and the frustrating bureaucratic process of getting it fixed under warranty. We've all been there, right?
Tell me about it. Warranty claims. Ugh.
Exactly. We also get this delightful anecdote about the Santa Calagan Days Festival. Apparently, it's become more corporate, but still managed to bring good times.
Okay.
And there's even a funny story about a parking dispute involving a Boy Scout troop, believe it or not,
Yeah.
and his wife's rather strong reaction to the whole thing.
Huh. Parking disputes can get heated.
They really can. These small human details, the everyday challenges and joys, they add such rich texture to life.
Yeah, they really do. And what truly stands out sometimes are these unexpected glimpses into human creativity and, well, quirkiness.
Uh-huh.
Like, we learn about Jane's homemade devil's blood spicy raspberry sauce.
Devil's blood. Okay.
Right. And she's given it other colorful names, too, like succubus discharge and witches period.
Oh, my goodness.
And she's seriously considering selling it professionally. It's just this charming detail that reminds you of the unique passions that drive people.
That's fantastic. And then for some just pure goofiness, but this time from the animal kingdom,
Okay.
we get the incredible story of Randy, a 2-year-old guinea pig at a place called Hatton Country World.
Randy the guinea pig. Got it.
This little guy apparently orchestrated a breakout, infiltrated a ladies-only enclosure,
Oh, no.
and in a spectacular feat, impregnated all 100 female guinea pigs.
All 100.
All 100, leading to an expected 400 baby guinea
It's
pigs.
400. Wow.
And the best part, he was found looking a little thinner and more tired than usual.
I bet he was. That's
Yeah.
quite an understatement.
Isn't it? That's just amazing.
That anecdote, it perfectly highlights the unexpected, often amusing aspects of the world that just defy all expectation, doesn't it?
Totally.
It's a wonderful reminder that amidst all the human struggles, the animal kingdom provides its own brand of chaos and charm. It offers this moment of pure, unadulterated absurdity,
Yeah,
which serves as a beautiful counterpoint to the more serious topics we've covered.
it really does. And finally, just to sort of keep you hooked, the source briefly covers Lil Nas X
Oh, okay. What about him?
being charged with felonies after walking the work. The source clarifies, in underwear, not naked on a Los Angeles street, and allegedly charging at officers.
Right, I think I heard something about that.
Yeah, the behavior is called uncharacteristic in the material, and he's been ordered to outpatient drug rehabilitation. The source links this to previous reports of facial paralysis he'd experienced. So it's another example, really, of life's unpredictable turns where maybe public spectacle meets intensely private struggle.
Yeah, a complex situation there, too.
So what does this all mean when we try to bring these really disparate threads together? We started with a source calling itself just goofiness and fun,
Right.
but what we've journeyed through is actually a pretty powerful deep dive into heavy social issues, frustrating political maneuvers, courageous personal changes, and these delightful, if sometimes absurd, observations from daily life.
Yeah, stepping back, this collection of sources, it profoundly underscores that the world is rarely just one thing, is it?
No.
It's a complex, ever-shifting interplay of the serious and the silly, the disheartening and the inspiring, the systemic and the deeply personal.
Mm.
The initial self-description of that radio show itself was a contradiction, and our deep dive has just revealed countless more. It forces us to constantly reevaluate our perceptions, I think.
It really encourages critical thinking, doesn't it? Like, are we numb to certain realities or maybe just overwhelmed?
Good question.
Do we unwittingly accept fundamental unfairness in some areas while fiercely demanding justice in others? How do personal choices, like Biggie, bravely quitting that toxic job,
Uh-huh.
how does that mirror the courage needed to challenge systemic issues, even if it's on a much smaller scale?
That's a powerful connection.
And the source itself offers this incredibly uplifting thought amidst it all. It says, you have a 100% survival rate to everything you have faced so far. We got this.
I like that.
Yeah. It's a great reminder of resilience, even when you're facing paradox and contradiction.
Definitely.
So this deep dive, it shows that even in sources claiming to be purely lighthearted, you can find these profound reflections on society, on power, on personal well-being.
Yeah.
We've examined the painful ironies of current events, the frustrating politics that test our principles, and the empowering choices individuals make, all alongside the truly bizarre and the wonderfully simple parts of just existing.
And our goal, as always, is to help you extract the most important nuggets of knowledge and insight from this material.
Exactly.
This particular set of sources really challenges us to look beyond the surface labels, doesn't it? To embrace the multifaceted nature of reality and maybe find connections between things that seem unrelated at first glance.
Yeah.
It's all about seeing the world with hopefully greater clarity, contradictions and all.
Well put. So as you go about your week, maybe consider this provocative thought. In a world that so often presents itself as one thing, but reveals another entirely, what personal or public contradictions have you observed recently? And how do you navigate them for yourself? What do they truly reveal?